What's good, guys? Your boy AJ from AP Trades, and welcome back. We got another video here, simply going over market structure. This is another playlist that we will have, another part of the vault that I will have this specific section with market structure. Chapter, I believe it's chapter 3 of the Trading Game course. But this chapter right here, this section of the playlist, this section of the vault will probably have a lot of different videos in this section. So I'm going to keep this first video of market structure very generic, very basic. And as I continue to add more videos in here, you'll get a better understanding of market structure, that type of thing. But literally, I could talk for hours explaining market structure because there's a lot that goes into it. And the big thing for me with market structure that I try to tell students is you got to understand this when it comes to market structure. It is something that you have to, over time, learn and develop. It's not going to be something that I can just tell you in one call, in one setting, in one video, and you're just going to get it. It's something that you've got to see over and over and over again. And the biggest thing with understanding market structure is backtesting one, but also every single day coming to the market live and watching that market structure be created. So what I'm going to do here is give you the basics of market structure and help you understand exactly what market structure is, how it kind of works, and that type of thing. So let's get straight into it. So what with market structure, right? We have 3 different types of structures, 3 different types of market structures, right? So number 1, okay, we're going to have a uptrend, right? An uptrend is also called a bullish trend, right? Or an upward move. There's a lot of different names and words for this, but we're just going to call it what it is. And this is bullish. This is a bullish trend, right? So I'll just put all of them here. Put bullish. This is a uptrend. Yeah, let's just leave it for those 2 for right now, right? So this is bullish. This is an uptrend, right? When we are bullish and we are in an uptrend, price is making higher highs, okay, and higher lows, right? Now, each of these points moving up to the next high, okay, is going to create a new high, right? So this is a higher high, right? This higher high is higher than the previous higher high. That's what makes this a higher high, right? So you can pretty much guess what this is going to be. This is going to be a higher low, right? Because this is higher than the previous low, right? So it's a higher low, right? On the top in an uptrend or a bullish trend, we have higher highs, right? Higher highs. And at the bottom below, we have higher lows, right? That is what creates a bullish or uptrend, right? That's what creates that market structure. The price creating higher highs and higher lows, right? Boom. Right? So every time there is a higher high created, price has to come back and create a higher low. I know a lot of times you all hear when it comes to trading or the stock market, whatever it is, everyone always says buy low, right? Buy low. Well, this is what they mean, right? When price pulls back into this higher low opportunity, this is where you're looking to buy. Okay, same here, same there, right? You're not looking to buy here at the higher high when it's already created a new higher high. You're looking to buy when it's creating a new higher low, right? So that is the market structure for a bullish or an uptrend, right? Creating higher highs and higher lows. Now, if we are moving in a downtrend, we are moving like this, right? Where you're lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? This is a downward trend, okay? Or in trading terms, this is a bearish market, right? So we are bearish, right? And I'll put downtrend, right? Bullish is going up, right? Just think about it like the bull running up the hill. You're in an uptrend, right? And the opposite is bearish. It's a bear coming down the hill. You are in a downtrend, right? So just a kind of maybe an easy way for you to remember it. All right, so let's mark this up, right? So like I said, we have now lower highs, okay, and lower lows, right? Then we come back up and we have a lower high. Then we push back down and we have a lower low, right? And then we push back up and we create a lower high. Then we push back down and create a new lower low, right? This is never a new lower low until it passes the previous lower low, right? You'll never get a new lower low until you pass the previous lower low, right? Same thing over here. You'll never get a new higher high until you pass the previous higher high, right? Your higher lows should always stay above the previous low because it's a higher low, right? Same thing here. The lower high should stay lower than the previous lower high because it's lower than the previous lower high, right? Just kind of some common sense there. Don't make this stuff more complicated than it needs to be. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Now, the third trend that we're looking at is a sideways trend or a range or consolidation, whatever you want to call it, right? This is what we do not want to be trading, right? We do not want to be in a trade when the price is doing this. We want to wait for price to break out from this area, but that's a whole nother subject, another topic, right? So what we have here is a range or consolidation, or you might call this a sideways trend. Right? So that's what these 3 things are right here, right? We have a bullish trend, which is moving up, okay, bullish uptrend. We have a bearish downtrend, which means price is moving down, okay, and we have a range or consolidation, or what we call price moving sideways, right? When price is moving from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, it's considered a range or considered consolidation. When price is moving from the bottom corner of your screen to the top corner of your screen, it's considered a bullish uptrend. If it's moving from the top left of your screen to the bottom corner of your screen, it's called a downtrend, right? So like I said, when price is moving up, creating higher highs, higher lows, bullish trend, lower highs, lower lows, bearish trend, moving sideways, it's called a range or consolidation. And when it's moving sideways, price can be creating higher highs, higher lows, lower lows. It's usually creating a little bit of everything, right? And this is why we don't want to be trading this, because we have no real direction that the market is going yet. We have to wait for the market to create a direction that it's trying to go, and then that's where we can look to execute our opportunity, execute our trade, right? So, as simple as that, right? Those are the three market structures that you're going to be looking at on the charts. And yeah, those are the three. So let's go over to the charts real quick and just kind of look at what these three look like. And I'm going to screenshot this so I can have this saved. Let's download this image. All right, cool beans. All right, sweet. So now let's look at this live on the charts, right? Let's look at this live on the charts. And I'm not going to get into too much detail in this video. If you're a one-on-one student, right, you've definitely already got this in depth and understand, because I'm telling you, market structure is a lot, and it honestly can make or break your trading. Because if you don't understand simple market structure, you may be entering in the wrong areas, because you may think that price has now created a higher high, but it's not really created the higher high yet. So there's just a lot of different things that go into it that I'm not going to try to explain in this video. This video would be, like I said, an hour, 2 hours long, but I'm going to give you the basics here in this video. And as I add more videos to this playlist, you're going to get more information. Ask the questions on this video or in the Discord. My Discord link is linked below. If this video makes it to YouTube, my Discord link is linked below. You can easily join the Discord for completely free, no charge, and ask your questions there. And it's a whole lot easier for me to get back to you in that area in the Discord versus the YouTube videos. But if you need to ask any question, anything like that, ask it there in the Discord, or you can ask it here on the YouTube video as well. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, so that's that. So anyways, let's get into this here. Look at this market structure, right? We're looking at this market structure on the daily time frame, right? And so here are your time frames up here. And that is something I'll be going over in the next chapter, is really understanding time frames and kind of how they all play out together and that type of thing. So let's just draw some quick structure up here, right? So what I'm just looking at generally from here is, right, this type of structure, right? What we have here is a downtrend, right? We have a downtrend here, right? We have a lower high, and then we have a lower low, right? We have a new lower high, and then we have a push down that creates a new lower low, right? Once that new lower low is created, price pushes back up, creates a lower high, and then down here, pushes down, creates a lower low. All right. So as you can see there, this is what I would consider a downtrend, right? This price is moving down, creating lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and a lower high here. And then price looks like it changes directions, which we call a change of character, which I will go over in another video, where now price is now creating higher lows and higher highs. And like I said, in another video, I will get into exactly how and where I know to mark these higher highs up at, right? The big reason why I'm marking this higher high up here is because this previous lower high is right here. And once we break that lower high, moving to the upside, right, we're now creating higher highs, right? So there's a higher high here, and then there is a, higher low right there. All right, then price pushes up, creates a new higher high up here, creates a new higher low. That's not what I wanted. Higher low right there. And then as we continue up, price continues to create these higher highs and higher lows. Boom. Sweet. Higher high, higher low, that type of deal. All right, so what you have there is an uptrend. And it looks a lot more complicated when the candles are actually like moving on the screen versus like the diagram that I showed you guys. If I can zoom out, that I showed you guys here, right? This is a lot easier to read right here. It's a lot easier to read this little diagram versus how it is to read the actual markets. That is why I say it's important for anyone that's just trying to understand market structure. It's going to take time. It's not something that anyone can just like flat out tell you like, yo, this is exactly how it goes. right? There's other things that can happen that makes market structure look weird. And on top of that, like I said, this is just a diagram, and this is easy to draw this up. And it's a whole lot harder to understand the direction when it's actually, these candles are actually moving live, right? And that's why I say it just takes time. It's something that you're going to have to do over and over again. Like I said, in your nighttime sessions, when you're back testing, things like that. And also in your, while you're trading live, watching it live and just understanding it there, right? And that's a big reason why I think honestly, for a lot of people starting out, they should start out with something like demo accounting, stock options, because if you're trading the Forex and the futures, that market stays open 24/7, and you are going to feel like 24/7 you need to be trading that market. You need to be trying to learn how to make some money. Well, guess what? If you don't ever learn the skill, you will never make money doing this, right? You have to be willing to take time to learn the skill. Stop thinking so much about, I got to make some money. Think about, okay, let me learn this skill so it can provide the money that I wanted to provide, right? Once you do that, you're good, right? And it completely changed for me when I stopped focusing on, okay, let me focus on how much money I'm making. And instead I started focusing on, okay, how can I better my skills here? How can I get better? What do I need to do to be getting better? What do I need to be studying to get better, right? Instead of PM session, I'm trading. I'm watching videos and, back testing and journaling or going over my journal, the notes I took for the day during my trading session, going over those things during that time instead of, having a trading session in the morning and then coming back, 11, 12 o'clock at night and I'm ready for the London session too. It's just going to burn you out and you're going to waste your time because you're not actually learning the skill. You're just trying to press the button and trying to make some money. So it's big for you all to just make sure that you're actually learning the skill versus just taking trades. Right. So, that's market structure. Very simply explained. I'll do another demonstration here. Let's just pick another random stock. Let's go with Starbucks because I know you ladies love Starbucks. So let's do it. And you men too. I ain't gonna lie. I like Starbucks, but it makes my stomach hurt. So I don't eat it that much or drink it that much. Right. So now look at this. Price moving completely sideways. This is what we would consider a range. Right. There is some movement here moving up. Right. And you're going to always see that with a range. Even with a range, you're going to still have higher highs and higher lows. It's still going to move up and down. Right. But we don't want to be looking to trade this. Right, especially on the lower time frame. Now, right now, we're looking at the daily time frame, which is a whole other story. But the point I want you guys to understand here is that this price is moving sideways. We are ranging, right? Versus when you come down right here, we're still moving sideways there. But then you see this move up, right? And then you see this move down, right? And then you see this move up. This is creating higher high, higher low, higher high, right? And then you get here where the price looks like it wants to just kind of move sideways, right? It's still creating somewhat of this is now what would be a lower high, right? And then here, this would be like a higher low, and then this would be like, it looks like a higher high. It can be confusing when price is moving sideways, right? That's why we don't want to trade that. We want to look for the market when it's doing like this, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? Higher low. That's what we're looking for, right? That's what we're looking for. Let's go to another stock because Starbucks is not the greatest stock to be looking at like that, right? There's only a few stocks that I trade every day, and Starbucks is not one of those stocks that I trade every day because it has long periods where it's ranging like that. So, look at QQQ. Just a consistent move to the top right of your screen, consistently moving to the right. Right. And then you have this big little drop here, which is a downtrend. And then you see it moving back up to the top right part of the screen. Right. This is what we're looking for. That type of action. Look at this action right here versus this action right here. This is a lot harder to trade versus this price action right here. Right. Or let's go to NVIDIA. Right. This price action is a lot easier to trade because it's creating a clear trend, even though we're kind of moving sideways overall together here if you're looking at it. But this is a clear downtrend. This is a clear uptrend, right? This right here is clear uptrend, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Looks like we're pushing down, clear higher low. So all this right here on the video as well, it's pretty much a clear uptrend, right? Clear uptrend. And let's just go back to Starbucks and compare them again, right? Starbucks looks like it's moving completely sideways versus, like I said, on NVIDIA, we did have a moment of moving sideways, but it looks like we're moving back, pushing back up. We were pushing up here as well. Right. So let's just take another look at another one. Right. My favorite Tesla. Even though I don't trade Tesla as much anymore because I swear with Elon and whatever he's got going on too, this market can be absolutely crazy. And, so looks like we had some bullish movement here, bearish movement there. It looks like it moved sideways, bullish, bearish. Right. So we want to try to stay away from these markets that are moving sideways like this or creating a trend where you can just draw a line over the top of it like that. Right. And we just kind of want to stay away from those. That's just not that's not really something I'm looking forward to taking. Let's see here. Let's look at Apple, right? Oh, Apple's a good one, right? So as you see here, this is a range, right? And I'll draw a box over it. This whole area right here, right? That whole entire area is completely moving sideways versus how we got down here. The structure was creating lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, and now it started moving sideways. Right? When we see this sideways price action, right? When we see this moving sideways, we know that when it breaks from here, it's probably going to be a big move simply because it's been sitting in this area for, I don't know how long now, like weeks, right? Apple is something right now that, I mean, a lot of people are looking at, especially because there's a great opportunity to make a lot of money with Apple now, right now, right? But just simply because we have had this strong move down and then it started moving sideways right here. And now we're just waiting for it to break from here or break from the bottom and come down here, right? One of the two. I would expect price to break up, but I mean, you just never know based on tariffs. Really simple as that. I don't make it more complicated than that. Market structure is what it is. You have to understand it. You have to have a good understanding of it. Otherwise, you could be taking bad trades just at the wrong time, just because simply you don't have an understanding of market structure. And market structure is created on every time frame, right? So we were just looking at the daily time frame, right? Look at this market structure created on the 5-minute time frame, right? As you see here in this market structure, we're creating higher highs, higher lows, right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, that way, okay? And if I were to, let's just say, pull this off here, like that, right? Even though it looks a little weird, it's kind of like, I won't say all over the place, but I mean, that's just what the market does. That's how it moves. But you still can see clear higher highs, another clear higher low, right? And that's all we're looking for, right? We have to be able to read this correctly. If we don't read this correctly, it can really cause you to lose money that just doesn't need to be lost. And that's why I always recommend for people to start out on that demo account and get a feel for market structure there versus anywhere else, right? Instead of trying to get a feel for market structure and understanding of things, trading your live money, use the demo account and get an understanding from there. That's the best way to start, right? So like I said, draw the lines up, pull them off of the charts, and make sure they all are equaling to where they need to equal, whatever it is. And if you have any questions, my Discord link is below. You can join the Discord for completely free. Ask your questions there. It's the easiest place to get in contact with me. And there's probably other students inside my Discord that have already learned this stuff. If I can't get back to you quick enough, they can, right? Or I would at least expect someone that knows what they're doing to get back to you. And if they don't know what they're doing, I'll quickly correct them as well. So yeah, just understanding that. And like I said, if we're vice versa, flipping it over, right, that's how it looks. Except these are all going to be, lower highs and lower lows. So pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. I believe it's just a matter of, with market structure, like I always say, it's a matter of you getting reps. It's a matter of you taking the time at the night to go through the charts and mark up higher highs and higher lows. If you're not doing that, do not expect to see the results. Don't. And you're going to waste a lot of time trying to do it, trying to trade and learn without learning this stuff. And it's just going to make your trading process extremely long, right? You're going to have to come back to beginner level stuff because you tried to skip over it and go straight to trying to make money, because that's what everybody gets into this game thinking that, it's just going to happen immediately. Some people happens for them faster than others. I can't really predict how quickly you're going to learn, because that's really just comes down to you, and also, do you kind of click well with the person that's teaching you, right? Is their teaching style good for you? That type of thing. So it's really based off of all that. If you come into this game thinking that I'm just going to press this button and start making some money, well, you're in for a rude awakening, right? And like I said, if you try to skip over any of these steps, you're going to end up having to come back and learn it again anyway. So I recommend taking the time to learn this stuff the right way from the very beginning, right? Learn it the right way from the very beginning, and then continue to go from there, because all this stuff is just consistent growth. It is a consistent, adapting to the market and growing with the market. Now, market structure is pretty much never going to change, but there are different things within, the strategy and things like that change, often, based on different things. Like we have a new president now, so the market may move a little different than what it might have moved when Biden was the president, that type of thing. But when it comes to market structure, just simply understanding higher highs and higher lows, lower highs and lower lows, understanding those two things, and understanding when prices moving sideways, that is the main basic thing that you want to make sure you master. So after watching this video, if you don't understand those things, continue to watch the video again, ask the questions before you try to move further and further into market structure. But if you can't simply draw this up, right, and I'm gonna draw this here, and you guys can test yourself. You can test yourself right now. If you can't draw this up on your screen and mark them out correctly, and I'm going to leave this here for y'all to mark these up correctly. Actually, I'm going to give you the answer to these two. But I want you all to test yourself. Test yourself and see if you're getting this right. And if you're not getting this right, you need to go back through the video again. Right? If you can go back through the video again, and if you go back through the video again and you're not understanding it still, you need to leave a comment or something and let me know that you're not understanding it. That way I can better explain it for you, or maybe point you in a direction where someone that can better explain it for you may help you out, because I don't have any other way to explain this. This is an uptrend, right? This is an uptrend. So screenshot that, pause the video, whatever you need to do, and mark up the higher highs and higher lows at each number. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers here. Okay, at 1, we have a higher high. And at 2, we have a higher low. At 3, we have a higher high. At 4, we have a higher low. At 5, we have a higher high. Right? So there's no lower higher low created, so I don't mark up another higher low there. Right? Simple as that. There's the answers. Right? You should have marked those up just like that. Right? You should have marked them up just like that. Right? Like I said, if you have any questions, you need to comment on the video or join the Discord for free, and you can ask a question there. And that way I can get back to you with just a simple answer. Or if I have to make a video for you to understand it, I'll do another video. No biggie. Right? So, and here is the other trend that you've got to be able to understand. Right? And again, I will put numbers here for you to test yourself. So pause the video, take your second to answer all these numbers and mark them out correctly, right? On a piece of paper, just write down what number 1 is, what number 2 is, 3, 4, and 5, right? As simple as that. I'm going to give you the answers. All right. So there's your answers for the downtrend, right? Lower highs and lower lows. Simple as that. Screenshot that. Whatever you need to do, just make sure you understand that. And if you don't understand that, do not hesitate to ask a question. Don't hesitate to ask a question, and I will give you more tests. I will give you more things that you can study, or more just demonstrations, so that way you can understand it. Because if you can't understand this part of market structure, I'm telling you, you don't need to move any further. You do not need to move any further. I'm not saying you got to understand it like a pro, but if you can't just understand the basics of market structure, right? If you can't tell me exactly what this trend is and what this trend is and what this trend is, right? If you can't tell me what those 3 trends are, you should not be taking any trades at all. Definitely not live. Most definitely not live. If you can't tell me what this is, or this is, or this is, or you can't tell me all 3, you absolutely do not need to be taking any trades. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you are, you are getting ready to lose some money. You are getting ready to lose some money simply because you don't know the basics, right? So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you not to lose that money, right? I want to make sure that's not happening, because I wish somebody would have been doing that for me when I first started, was helping me not only trade, but help me avoid losing money that just does not need to be lost because I don't understand what I'm doing. Right? Everyone wants to see, they see this opportunity like, I have to start making some money because I see all these other people making money doing it, right? But all those people, you have to understand something. They went through that process as well of learning, right? It takes years for some people. It takes months for some people, right? Some people can get it within days. I don't really know a lot of people that can do that, especially as a fresh beginner. But I mean, a lot of times this stuff is going to take months. I mean, think about it like this, and this is what I'm going to leave you guys with, right? You go to school, you go to college for 4 years. You can go to school for 4 years to get a degree to what? To hopefully that degree, right, teaches you or gives you some type of knowledge towards whatever field you're trying to work in. Right? Whatever career you're trying to have a career in, hopefully that degree gave you the information, the knowledge that you need to be very successful in that field. But never did you once like go actually out into that field until you got the information that you needed, right? Most people probably went to college and took internships and things like that. From what I've heard, most of the internships, and I didn't go to college and do all that. I went to a JUCO for like 2 years and I was done, right? So I never did the internship thing, all that other good stuff, right? So most of you that have done internships probably did not get paid for that internship because you were there to learn. It is a system that you had to learn how to use and learn how to do before they ever were like, you know what, I'm willing to pay you for this. It's the same thing here. It may take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years before you're ever at that point where like the market is like, okay, you're good enough at this. Like the market can pay you now. Because here's the thing about the market, they don't care about you being a year in, 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, 10 years. And if you don't know what you're doing, the market is going to win. The market is going to win. If you don't have an edge, the market is going to win. Right? So over time with your demo account, that is what you're doing. You're creating your edge. You're learning how the market moves. You're learning how your job works. You are doing training for your job. Except this job has an unlimited pay. This job has an unlimited pay. This job is not based off of what Joe says you need to make per hour, or whatever CEO that you work for says you need to make this amount per hour, and that's it. This job is going to give you the opportunity for you to make whatever it is that you want to make, right? And that's based on a few other things that go into that, of course, right? But this is, with Hero Trading, you have an unlimited opportunity with the amount of money that you can make if you take the time to actually learn the skill correctly. If you don't, then just like your job, but the thing about with the job, if you can BS the training and still keep the job for a while and continue to get paid. The thing about trading is if you don't take the training serious and you try to come to the work field or the markets in the morning, don't be surprised if you lose money. That's the one thing that's different from a 9-to-5 job or whatever job career you might have versus trading. Trading, if you are not properly trained, you will lose money, right? And you'll lose a lot of it. There's always losing that's involved with trading, but if you have proper risk management, trading is, it all works out the way it needs to work out if you have the proper risk management and you understand what you're doing. But if you don't understand what you're doing, right, and you don't have the proper risk management, you will lose money in this job versus, your 9-to-5 job where you can go and BS it and sit there from 9 to 5 and still get paid no matter what, right? So that's just my little insight on or my thoughts on, learning this stuff. And it just always baffles me that people think that this is just something that they can just do overnight and just get rich and start making a lot of money. It's not like that, right? This is not crypto. So if you want to go try to get rich off of like crypto or something like that, go do that. I have all those stocks down here and they're great, right? But go ahead and put your money in there if you want to. You better hope it goes up, because if it doesn't go up and it pulls back down with this crazy crypto market, you'll be looking pretty silly, right? All because you're trying to get rich quick. So take the time to learn the skill. If you don't know these 3 things right here, do not move to the next chapter and ask the questions that you need to ask. All right. Other than that, it's going to be it for chapter, I think, 3 of the Trading Game course. Chapter 1 was broker. Chapter 2 is candles. And chapter 3 is market structure. Like I said, market structure will have its own playlist, will have its own area. Like I said, all these videos will be going into like a vault of videos, but they will all have different playlists based on the subject and section. And this section is market structure. So this section may have, I can almost guarantee we'll have a lot of other videos that are included in the section for you to learn from, especially once you get past this like basic generic video that I'm showing you guys here, right? Once you learn the basics of this, then you can start coming down to some of these other videos that are explaining this in a little bit more depth than what I'm explaining now. So like I said, other than that, that is the market structure video. Links are below, Discord is below, Join all those for free. My account link is below as well. If you want to book a one-on-one call, completely free. The Discord, completely free. So join all those things. Ask the questions you need to ask. I'm here to help you learn and grow and get you started making some of this money in the market. So other than that, it's your boy AJ from Making Trades. Yo.